Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the online viewers as well. And yes, please, can I ask you to switch off your mobiles if you haven't already done? Does anybody know the theme this evening that we're going to be looking at? Sorry? Easter. Yes, soon. So it's actually about shifting I to we, as in illness to wellness. And we have with us Sharon to share her thoughts on this theme. Just a bit about her background. She's with a background in fashion, but now she is a Dementia Project Lead for London Charity, and leads several groups, including weekly women's group called Beyond Labels at, correct me if I don't say it properly, Kiln Theatre in London. Yeah. So we're here for a treat. Enjoy and welcome also the online viewers. Over to you. Thank you.
Testing, that's it. Yeah. So, Om Shanti, to those who know the Om Shanti. Anyone here for the first time? Hello and welcome. And do you know about Raja Yoga meditation? Anyone here know about Raja Yoga meditation? So we practice Raja Yoga meditation here, which is meditation with the eyes open, because in life, you can't shut your eyes when you're in the queue at Sainsbury's. So it's a very practical form of meditation, and it's got many health benefits to it. So the topic today, from illness to wellness, we might actually start with a little bit of meditation, because I can see you've all come from different places. Maybe some of you have zoned out a little bit, and it might be a good idea. You may have come from different places, used public transport. It could have been a little bit chaotic on the high road. So I ask you all to just put your feet on the floor and to start coming into the present moment. And if it's okay, if you feel comfortable, you can either look at the carpet or close your eyes. And begin to relax the body and just come into the present moment, the here and the now. And just check into your breath, the automatic breath as it comes in through the nose and out through the nose. Something you don't have to think about, and it works with all the systems of the body. Begin to relax the seat bones into the chair, melting the seat bones like ice melts. So you're relaxing all of the muscles around the hips, and relaxing the scalp, the space between the eyebrows, and have the sense of the scalp relaxing as if wax is melting down the back of the head, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the chest, thinking about the posture, how you're sitting. Our posture affects our mood. And continue just to focus on the breath as it comes in and out. And notice where you're at right now. Just check in how you're feeling, the emotion that you're feeling. Just breathing in and breathing out. And now maybe just breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing through the nose. Maybe just releasing out through the mouth, letting go. So breathing in positive energy and letting go of everything that you don't need. Coming back into the present moment, right here, right now. You can open your eyes now. So the topic that we've got today, from illness to wellness, the topic was given to me actually, but I've written here, acceptance. When you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. So Dr. Wayne Dwyer, he was a very famous person who wrote many spiritual books, and he's since departed, left the body, as we say. But my own story, I won't go into too much detail because actually that's one of the strategies that I used. If you go through a challenge and you've got an illness or something happens, it could be a situation. If you repeat it a lot, you go through that emotion again. So it brings you right back to where you were. And you actually identify with it. So it's good to recognize it and know where you were, but to be very grateful to where you are now. So when I found out the news, there were two things that I had to really ask. Was there anything that I could do to change it? And the answer was no. There was absolutely nothing I could do. So the only thing I could do was have a vision and a belief looking forward of what was to be. So my belief was that I had to go through this to help and benefit other people. So I actually drew a picture of myself talking about it to people. So that was my vision. So that was the whole thing. Acceptance was the word that I used, and that was my intention. So everything starts with an intention, which leads us now onto language. So I brought a cousin with me to the hospital, and she had looked at a book about this condition that I had. And she read it, and then she gave it to me. And she said, "Would you like to read it?" I got as far as the word amputation, and I knew that I didn't want to read that book anymore. So I put it down. And when we spoke to the doctor, she said, "That was brutal." Now, language is so important, the language that we use. I mean, I could say to you now, let's all get up and do an exercise session. We're going to do something really vigorous. Or I could say, would you like to do a little bit of gentle movement? See how very different they are. So language can empower you, or it can disempower you. It can wound you, or it can build you up. So luckily, I had doctors around me who had a very different type of vocabulary. So when they saw me, they said, "You must be the really healthy and fit person who just happens to be going through major surgery." So you see the difference. So another cousin, the sister of the other cousin actually, started to send me messages, and she'd obviously told other people because I was getting messages saying, "We're sorry, you're so ill." I didn't identify with that person at all because the medics had told me, actually, you're very healthy and fit, and that was who I believed. So if we go on to the next slide, language. Hello, I am, whatever you decide to call me. So as Daksha said, I have a women's group, which is primarily for people with memory challenges. However, I call it Beyond Labels for this reason. So if you identify with something, so for example, you might have dementia, if everybody knows that you've got dementia and uses that word all the time, it's very easy to identify with it. But that person, you know, they're a human being, and, you know, we could actually just do a little exercise. Find someone very quickly. We've got people actually on viewing us online, but speak to someone you don't know. And if you just ask them what the word means to you, it'd be very interesting just to find out. Or would anyone like to say, you know, dementia, for example? Yeah. Yeah, just to, what does it mean to you? Yes, yes. Maybe if you could perhaps talk to that brother, because it's easier. Just for one second. What does the word dementia mean to you? And actually, the people online as well can think about that word. What does it mean to you? Hello, come in, and you can come into the front and speak, pair up with this gentleman. We've just asked, what does the word dementia mean to you? Dementia. So if you can just ask this man here what it means to you. Yeah. So another, say, 10 seconds and we'll finish up. So language. Can you see, using the word dementia, I prefer to use the word memory challenges. So again, if you say I have a condition, or I am a certain type of thing, can you see the difference? You know, so illness, you know, for example, is just something that it can be perceived very differently. And I'm sure, did you have a little chat and find out what I could hear what that gentleman said about the word dementia. So yeah, it was just a little exercise. So cultivating gratitude is another thing. So if anyone's familiar with the power of gratitude, does anyone have a gratitude journal? Yes. So it's been evidenced that if you are grateful and actually express that in writing, it can change the brain. So we have a sister Genti here who is one of the heads of the Brahma Kumaris. So she suggested writing 100 things to be grateful for. It sounds like an awful lot, but once you put the pencil on the page, automatic writing, it just keeps on going. And then to carry that through and to maintain it, to actually do that 3 times, 3 things to be grateful for every night before you go to bed. And it should change things. So Are you all familiar with neuroplasticity? So things can be changed in the brain. Okay, next slide. Oh, thank you very much. The bottom one, that's lovely, thank you. So the mind-body connection, the meditation as medicine, we can't always change what's happening around us, but we can change what happens within us. So for me personally, I used Qigong. So although I didn't have a physio appear when I was in hospital, I managed to get out onto the terrace and do a little bit of chair Qigong. And because I had a vision of getting better, the consultants said that the recovery was actually phenomenal. But there was a little bit of inspired action as well. So I did meditate. I also had all the spiritual teachings of the Brahma Kumaris that tells us that we're a mighty, almighty authority and that we're all life coaches and leaders. But perhaps we just forgot, or from a very young age we were told differently. And so, you know, if you believe in something, you can actually make it happen. So you're coming out of the limited and into the unlimited. So again, all of these things, as I said, are quite practical things. So I'd like to just maybe do a little bit of this chair Qigong, because I actually was asked to go to Germany to facilitate Qigong in 2018. I'd done Tai Chi, but I'd never actually practiced Qigong before. But I started in 2018, and I would say that, you know, the benefits have been multifold. So I was working in fashion and found the Brahma Kumaris. I was doing yoga, and I would say yoga and Qigong work very well, but they're very different. So this is something that is available, I'm sure, to everybody. We're not going to stand up. We're just going to remain in the seats. Again, if it's okay with you, if you can just put both of your feet like two parallel cards just on the floor, flat down, and just put the palms on your knees and come into the front of the chair just a little bit and smile, because with Qigong, there's three things involved. One is a big smile, one is intention, one is movement. And so also think about the breath as well. So we're going to breathe in to look up at the ceiling, and we're using the arms. So on the knees, just using the arms to pull back, if it's available to you, just looking at the ceiling. And then exhale. And we're just forming a C. So it's like convex and concave. So breathing in to look at the ceiling and exhale. Breathing in and breathing out. And this is for a healthy spine. So if you can just maybe, if it's available to you, just see if you can move the spine just a little bit as you're breathing in and exhale. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And these are things that really you have to do consistently every day. Breathing in and exhale. Breathing in and exhale. Breathing in and exhale. And now slightly different, but like it's called the bear. So we're just putting loose fists and again breathing in and then exhale. Breathing in with the fists to the ears and exhale. Breathing in And exhale through the mouth. Breathing in. And exhale. And now to create more energy in the body, if you just rub the nails very quickly. And remember the breath and intention. So if it's energy that you want, just very quickly, if it's available to you, just the nails. And now forming little beaks like birds' beaks, just tapping into the clavicle. So just where that indent is, just below the collarbone. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And now the other side, breathing in. This is also for the immune system. Breathing in and out through the mouth. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And now just down on the chest with the little beaks. Breathing in and breathing out. 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 And now just tapping on the shoulder, into the shoulder, and down on the inside, and up on the outside. That's it. Clapping is very good for you. Down on the inside, and up on the outside. So we're tapping into the meridians of the body, all the nerve endings, creating energy. Down, yin and yang, and up on the inside. So down on the inside, and as you go up on the outside. And then the other hand into the shoulder first. Give yourself a pat on the back for the day that you've had today and for the life that you've led. Nice tap. Down. And up. And again, inside. And outside. And then massaging the ears is very good for you before going to bed. Very relaxing. And we have so many nerve endings in the ears. There's a whole book written on the ear reflexology. Flexology for the feet, for the ears, for the earlobes. But another thing, if you want to stay awake as well, is just massaging the earlobes. And then energy on the hips. We create a lot of the emotion that we have is stuck in our hips. So just tapping into our hips. Remember the breath, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out, and coming down the sides of the knees and the shins. Just on the shins, a nice tap. And then clasping the hands. This one is very good for carpal tunnel. And in the other direction. So this is something that I did, as I said, with consistency, you can really feel the benefits. It's like the meditation. I think a lot of people give up meditation. How many people here practice meditation on a regular basis? Yeah? I think a lot of people give up meditation because nothing happens, but it has to be done consistently. And, when you're at that point of resistance where you think, well, actually, I just think I'm going to get up and get a cup of tea now, that's when you have to actually stay, and that's when you might see the benefit. And maybe nothing does happen, but with consistency, it definitely brings you to a quieter place, you know. And a lot of people are talking about quantum physics now, and the sort of quantum physics with spirituality and consciousness as well, and how meditation can really help. And I think people are much more open to that now, you know, how it can help, especially in a chaotic world, which we seem to have outside right now at the moment. So I would definitely recommend it. It would definitely, I would say it benefited me in many ways, because when I was given the news about my surgery, which was major, I had no reaction at all. No reaction. It felt as if it was some sort of story, and it wasn't me that was in this story, but I ended up being in that story. And as a few of you will know, I ended up working with people with another type of diagnosis. And so everything that I went through was of huge benefit, because now I'm very experienced and qualified. So when I was in hospital, unfortunately, 3 months after the major surgery, I had an emergency surgery, which I just found out recently, actually, that Lisa Marie Presley died with it. So I didn't know how bad it was. But when I was actually at the hospital, when all of it sort of kicked off, I was very lucky, because the surgeon actually came into the room and he said to me, "We're going to actually operate on you, but did you know that you have COVID?" And so I said no. And so he said, "Yes, the test came positive, but we're going to operate on you anyway." And I was in ICU for 2 weeks, and one of the ICU nurses said, "That was a very good surgeon that actually operated on you." So I do feel that the whole way I was actually supported. And I think that was another thing that was very important, to have some sort of support system, whatever that means to you. For me, it was actually the Brahma Kumaris, because they very naturally responded in that way, because someone who was a retired social worker came to see me, and he didn't like the look of me. I'd lost about 15 kilos, so he was a bit concerned. And so the Brahma Kumaris looked after me. So to have a support system in place, I think, is very important. And that could be in your community. So that's not necessarily to say with an illness, but any situation or challenge that you have. And I think that's where the I, you know, and the we in this particular talk, because that's the subheading when you change I to we. For me, also, it was definitely my faith and trust in something much more greater than us. And so that helped very much so. And, you know, our spiritual teachings say, for every one step of courage that you take, you know, you'll get 10,000 steps of a support around you. And I certainly found that, because when you start to meditate, and it's almost like something magical happens to you, because when you look at life in a different way, as Dr. Wayne Dwyer said, everything around you begins to change. It's incredible, you know, when you come from a different perspective and see things in a different way. So that was very helpful, I have to say, the spiritual teachings of Brahma Kumaris and having this network. And I'm sure it's an exercise that you can all do. Who are my people in this particular network? You know, you could have a sort of a balloon with different spikes coming out, because it's important to think of that, because no one knows what's around the corner for them. And that's another thing. I'm probably not following the slides, but just talking very organically, one of them actually says, don't wait until you're 80 to think about your health. Because what we're doing now, no matter how young you are, is going to be many years to come. You will be 80, and you could be someone who's very healthy and fit. When we're younger, we think of an 80-year-old who, we might have an idea again, it's just a word. When I was 30, I probably thought someone of 80 was elderly. But now I've got clients that come to my women's group. One is 91 and she can walk faster than me. She thinks like a young person. We've just recently done a program called Move to the Movies, which some of you might have gone to. And she was actually in that on the stage dancing. But watching her and looking at her and just observing what she does, she walks every day. And she's got probably a Mediterranean diet. She is Italian. And she's just very young at heart. And she's got a very positive state of mind, I would say. So, what we do now. So, I mean, we all know about nutrition and movement, exercise, what we should be doing. But there are other things too, and that's the thoughts, of course, because the thoughts, emotions, and feelings can actually get lodged. And, another thing with meditation is you become your own therapist. Your intuition is actually very, very strong when you start to meditate. I knew why I had this particular condition. I knew exactly why. It was because of grief. And that grief had to come out, and that was it, So how we think and the emotions and feelings are all linked. The mind, body connection. At Brahma Kumaris, we talk more about being a soul, and the body actually is just a vehicle. Just a vehicle. And one day that will go. That's why we use the expression leaving the body, because our belief is that the soul is eternal. And, another thing, when I went through what I went through, I actually found out that all these teachings were actually true, because the things that happened were just amazing. As I say, almost like magic, but I'm sure there's probably science, as I said, and spirituality are now more closely linked. And I think scientists are also recognizing that, So I'll go back to the slides. So I mentioned gratitude. Across all cultures, there is in human nature the opportunity to be recognized. I believe in Africa, they have a saying, I see you, but being very grateful for the little things with, authenticity, so that it feels right for you. I mean, it was something that I was brought up with. I don't know whether children do it these days, but if someone gave me a gift, or it was Christmas or my birthday, my mother would say, you sit down there and write out the thank you cards. So saying thank you and being grateful, it comes very natural to me. But when you're actually grateful, that too will change your perspective on life. The power of gratitude is very powerful. So just being really grateful for the little things, the blue sky, the little robin that appears, the weather that we have here, which is not extreme, and just really grateful for every breath that we take, because, being is a gift. It's life itself. So I briefly mentioned about belief system. So having this, the mindset. So I told you that I had a vision that I was having to go through this because it would benefit other people. So wherever you are, that's your purpose. ICU nurses coming to see me, 4 ICU nurses a day. And it was in the time of the picket lines, if you remember that, when the doctors and nurses were on strike. And so it was very cold. It was 2 years ago, and it was freezing outside. And they had something called a hug. It was like a big apparatus that, I don't know whether any of you have been in hospital to see it, but it's like a big tunnel with hot hair, and it goes up the sheets and it keeps you warm. So I had one of those. It was that cold. And when you've gone through surgery as well, all the body gets very cold. But nurses would come in. They were very excited that I could speak, because they said, we don't see people that can actually speak. Everybody that comes into ICU are in a coma. So it's very, uncommon to see someone here that speaks to us. But I didn't need to speak. All I needed to do was to listen, because they told me their stories. One told me her story that she'd been in the NHS for 18 years and had a brain tumor, and she wasn't able to take time off work. And she burst out crying, saying that after 18 years, she now had to leave the NHS. Well, that nurse had come in that morning at 7:30 in the morning. She came in to talk to me at 7:30 in the evening. That was 12 hours. She left my room at 10:30 at night. There was another nurse, actually, she was a healthcare assistant. She told me how she lost her baby because they were rolling a patient. Took 7 people to roll a patient, and unfortunately she lost her baby. So I felt, this is my purpose right now. And people were coming into me from Brahma Kumaris with blessing cards. So I was able to give those blessing cards out to people. So you could be on a bus and you're just doing your purpose by smiling at somebody or having a conversation with somebody, because no one knows what people are going through, because if I'd looked at that nurse, I would never have known what she'd been through, and the healthcare assistant the same. But they chose to tell me their story about what they were going through. And they also told me about their time during COVID and what it was like working in ICU during COVID. So I have a lot of gratitude for the NHS, because if it wasn't for the NHS, I wouldn't be sitting here now. And I know we hear so many stories about them, but they really are fantastic. I mean, I'm sure some people have had bad experiences, but I feel very blessed. This is a very good Irish writer, actually, with many quotes, and he trains lots of leaders. I don't know whether any of you have heard of him, Philip McKernan. But he was the one that said, we're all born leaders, but we just don't believe it. So I've mentioned staying in the present moment, and one of our daddies actually left the body over the last couple of days. We had the news, and she was 101, but I was just told just before I came here that was her whole thing. Past is past. And also her timing as well with people. So she'd say what she had to say, and that was it, which I thought was a very good sort of practical sort of thing. But the one thing that I haven't mentioned is solitude. I spent a lot of time in solitude, which is nothing to do with being lonely, but solitude comes easy for me because I'm an only child. But when you're in solitude, again, it's almost like meditating, and then you're connected with people. It's almost like you can hear the minds speak. I guess you're really increasing your intuition when you spend time in solitude and seeing how comfortable you are with that. You know, sometimes I used to do it before Brahma Kumaris, but I used to have the TV on, I'd have the radio on because somehow it felt a little bit more cozy. But now, if I put the radio on, it's almost, it gets in the way with nature and with the birds singing outside, you know? So solitude is something that, again, is very natural in our original state. And with the Brahma Kumaris, we're always trying to get back to discover what our original nature is. It's like a self-realization. And as I say, the more you spend in this sort of reflection mode, the more creative you become, the less stress that you have. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Are any of you familiar with him? Yeah, so he talks a lot about solitude, and he talks about the time slot of 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. And he goes into the scientific reason why that particular time is a very good time to be silent, to get up and to meditate. He also talks about, after doing that meditation, to do a little bit of exercise between 3 and 5 a.m. and also to do a little bit of study. And it's to do with how the brain is at that time. I think it might be called the limbic stage, pre-cortex. And anyway, if you are interested, you can Google it. He's on YouTube. And actually, he does meditations too on YouTube. And he has one channel that's constantly live. So when I wasn't doing meditating and I wasn't journaling and writing gratitude journals, I was also listening to very uplifting podcasts and uplifting spiritual teachers. So that brings me on to the influence of our environment as well, and the influence of people. The influence of people, because somehow that also has a huge impact on us. And, you know, I think this particular person that I mentioned, Philip McKernan, also said something about Google and gut. He trusts his gut. He doesn't trust Google, you know. And again, the more you go into that power of meditation, the more you can actually trust your gut and your instincts. So your body is incredibly adaptive. I found that out. I mean, it's incredible. And that's another thing. I actually learned so much. So wherever you have a challenge, they say it comes as a teacher. I certainly learned so much. I learned a lot about the body and learning to communicate with the body. So having to go through scar therapy, I found out about how to be gentle with the body. So, for example, exercise or yoga. You could be going to a really strenuous yoga class, but actually that yoga teacher is there for, say, if you've got 22 people in the class, she's there for everybody, but we've all got different bodies. We're all unique. We've all gone through different traumas. So I only ever see her now as a guide, purely a guide. And I would say the same for myself. I sometimes facilitate movement for Brahma Kumaris in the mornings, and it's made me much more compassionate and understanding to people who are maybe older or people who've had some sort of trauma or accident. So yeah, I would say it's very, very easy to go, you know, very quickly into something, but communicating with the body first of all. So really doing it gently, waking up the body first of all, before, going straight into it. I cannot do what I used to do when I was 20. I'd like to think I can, and I probably could, but it's just not kind on the body. So communicating with the body. So I also do that through my meditations as well, and affirmations as opposed to mantras. So the difference between an affirmation and a mantra is usually sacred. A sacred word, for example, like the word that we use here, Om. An affirmation, something positive in the present, not necessarily sacred. And sometimes it's a good focus for meditation if you're new to it. So it might be a good time to maybe do a little healing meditation. So if we can place our feet back on the ground again, and maybe a compassionate meditation, just putting one hand on your heart space and the other on your navel, and close the eyes or look at the carpet, whatever is easier for you. And again, just checking in on how you feel. Breathing in and breathing out. And you might like to visualize the number 3 like an inflatable balloon lifting into the sky. Just visualizing an inflatable fuchsia pink number 3 balloon. And the body feeling more relaxed, the shins feeling relaxed, the seat bones feeling relaxed. And now imagine the number 2 as a turquoise, big inflatable balloon, floating higher past the white fluffy clouds. And now think of a golden balloon as a number 1. And you're above the clouds now, and you've passed by pink fluffy clouds. And you're holding on to the balloon and you're feeling lighter, lighter and lighter. And you pass over London, River Thames, past all the different counties, as you pass by countryside, lakes, rivers, and the sea. And you're feeling lighter and lighter as you let go. Letting go of all the worries. And you pass by oceans and countries. And now imagine the gold of the balloon gives you an aura, a gold aura. And that gold aura is infiltrating every cell of your body. And just quietly, to yourself, in your mind, say, my cells are healthy and happy. Just quietly to yourself, my cells are happy and healthy. And now feel it. Feel happy and healthy, and feel that the cells are energizing you. Now imagine having the ability to share that beautiful golden healing light to the country that you happen to be over now, whichever one you've chosen, the country of your choice. Sharing this beautiful golden aura. Imagine the gold aura now is changing into little golden healing balls, and they're coming down over the country. And your heart feels light because you have been rewarded, because you've made other people happy and you feel so happy too. A reward that can't be explained, but you can feel it in your heart. And you see the people below, and you find your inner smile, and know it's time to start returning back. And you come back over the ocean, all the different countries, the sea. You're still feeling light, not a care in the world, because you're living in the present moment, just like a child. Past no longer matters. It's gone. And you're ready to be whatever you want to be. And you come by the countryside, which is now England, past the lakes, the rivers, the River Thames, you know that everything that happens will come to pass. And that you're living your purpose. And that you're capable of many things because you've done it before. You're resilient. You come back into your chair. And now placing both hands, so one on top of the other, on your navel, the seat of your emotions, and bringing all the energy that you've cultivated into the lower abdomen, the dantian and qigong. And now bringing the hands into prayer or namaste by the chest, hands. And maybe just think of the first thing that comes to your head that you're grateful for today, just one thing that you're grateful for today. And if there's just maybe one thing that you heard today that you can take away with you, just think about it to yourself. And you can very slowly maybe rub the hands together to create energy. Again, imagine those hands are like healing plates, healing energy, and place it automatically on any place where you'd like some tender, loving care. And just notice now if anything has changed at all since when you first came in. Maybe your thoughts are a little slower. The muscles of the body, just bringing awareness into the body and how you feel. Maybe the breath has changed a little bit, maybe it's a little bit deeper. Just very gently put your hands up to the eyes. And then you can open your eyes underneath the hands and take your hands down very gently. And I'll ask if anyone's got any questions. I feel like I've done a lot of talking. Is there anyone who has a question at all? Yes? Say it again, sorry.
So I wonder, so you said earlier that yeah, we can create our life. So
Yes.
if we put something in our mind to do, we can do that because it's neuroplasticity. So it's connecting with the divinity, this neuroplasticity.
Who knows? That I wouldn't be able to answer.
So if to choose, so yeah, so I just was confused.
No, I mean, I've got lots of books on spirituality and science, but I haven't read them. I got so many of them from India.
Okay, so
But if you said that you actually do listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza?
yes, sometimes
Yes.
I listen, but sometimes I'm confused. So maybe, yeah. I just wonder, spirituality should be much stronger than neuroplasticity, or I don't know. I cannot understand neuroplasticity. I mean, because some people say that if you think positively, if you send your intention, yes, definitely you get what you want. Some people say that if your grandmom, grandfather, they had a bad life in the past, you may carry on that things. So it's kind of confusion, neuroplasticity with the family and, of course, spirituality, spirituality.
So, we can be our own person. I don't know with regards whether I got that right from what you've said. Say that again about your family in connection.
Yes, so it's, so, yeah, I'm sorry for my English.
No,
I'm not that good in
it's very
English.
nice, very, very nice.
Yes.
Yes, maybe.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that'd be
I
nice.
think it will be
Yeah,
better,
we can have a
yes.
chat about that.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you for the question. Thank you.
He has a burning question. So we just a little bit running over the time. So you'll join me in thanking Sharon for sharing such beautifully and all these exercises as well, combined with meditation. That was excellent, wasn't it? So you know what to do if you're not falling asleep.
I mean, if anybody has got lower back pain, if anyone ever has lower back pain, there's so many different exercises, but one particular, Dr. Chand, for lower back pain on YouTube, he's fantastic. Depends whether it's chronic or whether it's acute. But yeah, Dr. Chand, I can really recommend him. It's
Okay.
about finding the teacher that suits you.
Yes. Yeah. We can only recommend, but you have to see whether that's suitable for you or not. So just one of the things that I'd like to underline from what you shared, besides the exercise I really enjoyed, and the sharings of the journey you've gone through, your own illnesses, and how you were so positive, and I was there to witness some of it, not all of it, but I know many of our friends used to go and give us the feedback. So thank you for sharing from your heart and your own personal experiences. One of the things that I'd like to underline, she's saying we have to be our own therapist.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I overheard someone when I was very new to Brahma Kumaris. I used to go to a group that they had, a women's group called Wise Women,
Yes.
and that was in Pound Lane. And I overheard someone saying, and I didn't understand it, but I do now.
Good. So I think it's useful for us all to remember that. Just to remind you, so next week, again, Tuesday, every Tuesday, we have themes on different topics, and the talks on different themes. And so next week is going to be power of attention. So another wonderful topic. And also just an advance notice, we have positive thinking in-house Wednesday 16th and Thursday 17th, and that's going to be from 5:30 to 7 p.m. So 2 sessions course. And our quiet room is open Mondays to Saturdays from 10 to 5. The days we're here for a longer time, then you're welcome to come even after 5. And Mondays and Thursday evenings, we have meditation, both online and in person from 7 to 7:30. And our shop will be open for a few minutes to browse, and you actually exit through the shop door. So 2 books that I like to bring to attention in conjunction with this theme is The Immune System of the Soul by Mike George. Many of you have heard him. Wonderful writer, speaker, motivational speaker. And also, this is The Heart of Well-Being. And this is more to do with cancer, but it's probably applicable for any kind of illnesses. So The Heart of Well-Being, 7 tools for surviving and thriving. So enjoy, and we'll just finish with a few moments of silence. And those who want to meet personally, Sharon will be here for a few more minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.